Yeah, I feel like if you're going to speak to people on camera or off camera,
right,
you need to be accountable for what you say.
Yeah.
Because if someone who's listening may really need to hear what you say.
Right.
And if you guide them right or you guide them wrong, or especially if you guide them wrong, and then something happens, you know, now you're kind of responsible.
Yeah.
The Joyce Team Lovecast.
They podcast. We Lovecast.
What's going on, family? You are now tuned into the Joyce Team Lovecast. I am Chris Joyce.
And I'm Lexia Joyce.
And all we're going to do is give you some real tips for your relationships.
With real love in a real way.
Real love in a very real way.
Yeah.
So on today, another spicy topic, in my opinion. These jokers on the internet be lying, Doc. These jokers be lying. Your family members be lying. The bitter folks be lying. You know what I'm saying? And so at some point, the real got to come through and just talk that talk. You know what I mean?
Talk that talk.
Yeah, you know. But so realistically, what we're talking about is there is a litany. I know that sounds real professional. There is a litany of bad relationship coaching and bad relationship advice everywhere you look.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, everywhere you turn, YouTube, online and offline at that. And so we felt even more recently, a part of the reason why we're doing the Lovecast is because a lot of couples with great relationships, they just don't talk a lot.
Right.
Because they're busy living a great life.
Right.
With their spouse and their partner. But because they don't talk, it can almost seem as if it's impossible to have what you desire.
Right.
So if nothing else, we're just here to at least express what a healthy relationship can look like. What we deem as healthy. Of course, we don't got it all together, but you know, we got it together a good bit.
Yeah.
You know.
Got some time.
Yeah. And so what our goal and our hope today is to help you guys not clap for counterfeit coaches and advice gurus any further. And so with that being said, we want to kind of point out a few red flags that we see often with relationship coaching and relationship advice. Again, whether it's online or offline. What are some of those red flags you would say?
I would say if someone make promises, you know, if you do this, then your relationship, I promise you that, you know, this will be your outcome. And that's not always true.
No.
There's always guidelines, you know, that you can follow, but you can't promise someone something, you know, because you don't know everything that they're dealing with. You don't know, you know, their personalities. So you can kind of guide them. You know, but you can't make promises. No false promises. And everything doesn't work for everybody.
Everything does not work for everybody.
It's not a one size fit all.
It's not a one size fit all type of scenario when it comes to relationships.
Right.
Everybody's different. You know, the way our love has transcended over time and it continues to grow doesn't mean that somebody else's path will look like our path. Right. Nonetheless, there are principles that you can follow that can allow you growth and sustainable growth, doing maintenance for that growth. So all of these things are possible, like she says, with guidelines and principles. Another thing I think you need to be weary of or careful of is a lack of credentials. Like, who are you?
Right.
You know, if you and there's a lot of people who be making up titles nowadays. I am so-and-so guru, love doctor, #1. You know what I mean? Like, no, you aren't, sir. You know what I mean? You're in a garage somewhere, you know, with some lights and some cameras. You know what I mean? And so, and a lot of times people talk out of their bitterness and their biases. And so, with that being said, man, those are some of the red flags that we wanted to point out. Just a few things. I know you've probably seen more. Matter of fact, as you're watching this, put in the comments some red flags you've seen. You know what I mean? Some stuff that is kind of, you saw like, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? Throw that in the comments so we can go back and read them after we get out of this Lovecast. All right? And one question I tend to ask a lot is, where is the fruit, right? Where is, you know, the actionable items that you've put in place as a love coach or as somebody giving advice? Like, can somebody look at your lifestyle and say, oh, well, you must know what you're talking about, because there's some things, some things I can look at and say, oh, there's some fruit here, right? again, we're not saying we're love gurus, relationship gurus, nothing like that. But I mean, 19 years in marriage, 21 years in together.
So that's the fruit.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Right. And not glamorizing it, not saying there was no bumps, bruises, nothing like that. But we're still here.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so again, we're not trying to compare anybody, but I'm just saying there are some things you need to look at and look into when you're trying to filter out what I should be listening to, what I shouldn't be listening to. You know, you don't want these jackleg, bootleg jokers all in your ear with this nonsense. I know I'm talking a little spicy. You know, but that's how I feel. That's how I feel, though. You know what I mean? I don't be wanting to hear all that. Honestly, because here's the thing: you have people like us, where we talk with different people on a regular basis, and we end up seeing there's consequences for following bad advice.
Yes.
Now, what would you consider it, or should I say it this way? Have you seen people who have followed bad advice, and then you're ending up having to kind of talk them through or out of some of those mindsets?
Yes. Yep. I have with, some of my friends, and, they may go through something.
Right.
And they'll seek advice from someone who is close to them, but might not be maybe qualified, if you will, for lack of a better term, to give them advice because they have that a bias that they're dealing with.
Right.
And so they will give them advice based on maybe a past hurt that they're not over yet.
Right.
And which can kind of lead that person going to the same way that they are versus giving them, an objective view.
Yeah, that's very important. Objective view. You want to be able to listen to somebody who can give you an objective view, not always pat your back, but at least point you in the right direction.
And I have a family member. We have a family member who is very objective, and she will not, just because you're family, she will not gravitate towards your side.
Right.
Very
which is good.
Which you need it. You need it.
Yeah.
It's like when you're in a disagreement and you're like, well, I know this person should take my side. And that's not always healthy.
No, that's not always healthy. Especially if you want growth.
Right.
If the ultimate idea is to have growth, then you need somebody who's going to be able to tell you the truth in love, whether it's for you or challenging you.
Right.
I'm not even going to say against you.
No, just
but for you or challenging you. Because the end result is a growth in your love, a growth in your understanding, and a growth in your togetherness. Can we agree on that at least?
Yeah, we should be able to agree on that.
Good.
What's up, Lovecast lovers and friends? I'm here with a new love exercise, and it's called Love on the Run. And what we like to do at least once a week is meet up for a car lunch date. And so it's just great because you can connect with each other 30, 45 minutes, have lunch, see how everyone's day is going, and just spend time. And trust me, this is something that you definitely want to do. So once you've done it, let me know in the comments. Talk to you later. Bye.
Another thing we could think about, and I'll let you kind of throw it out there. What is something that people need to be cautious of when they're looking at who's giving advice or who's giving them coaching, in a sense?
Well, you kind of want to know what is their motivation, behind the advice that they're giving you.
Yeah.
So if you are speaking to someone that may be in a bitter relationship and you ask, and y'all may go through similar situations, and then you're going to gravitate to ask them because you want to know what they did.
Right.
Well, do they really want to help you? Or do they want to get you?
Right. They want a buddy. They want a buddy to be in the mess
with them. Exactly.
Yeah, to be in the muck and the mire with them.
When you're getting and seeking information, you want to know what is the motivation behind the information that you're being given.
And matter of fact, when we look at like online coaching and online advice, like, are these people just trying to come up? Are they just trying to make $1?
Right.
Because they know that the quote unquote the relationship lane is a hot lane.
Right.
And you can make some money,
Or are they trying to really give you good advice?
Right. Are they really wanting to look out for people and help people get better? Because we already know we're not called to everybody. Everybody ain't gonna look at this and be impressed. Everybody ain't gonna look at this and hear what we got to say. You know, they may not like it, they may like it. But for whoever is supposed to reach, we believe it's going to reach. And for those people, it'll be beneficial for.
Yes.
And if it's not, well, peace and dues to you. I ain't tripping off none of that. You know what I mean? Because we're just here for who we're called here to be for. You know, I don't even know I said that right, but you get what I'm saying. You understand what you understand? Yeah, you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, another thing to look at is what is informing their viewpoint, right? You know, like is that source credible? You know, I'll say for us, we know we believe in godly marriage.
Yes.
We believe in the Bible, things of that nature, right? So we build our principles are based in those viewpoints, for lack of a better term. And so if you don't even believe some of the stuff we say, 9 times out of the 10, 10 times out of 10, you'll be able to track it back to some form of scripture, just something that we know goes beyond our level of knowledge and understanding. Because sometimes these people are pulling stuff out the air, and you like, where did you, what? It kind of thought, what? And then not only that, they got some people out now where their thing is this based off scientific evidence and statistics and all that, which there's nothing wrong with scientific evidence and statistics. However, you don't want to let it skew your view of what's possible.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because realistically, not to get too deep off into statistics, but all of my friends are great fathers. Even the ones who aren't able to be living in the same home with their children. They love their children, desire to be with their children, things of that nature. But statistics will tell you, or even just the rumors will tell you, well, black fathers ain't around for their kids. And I'm like, where? Everybody I know around their kids, love their kids. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, don't buy so much into what somebody comes across your screen and says, well, I got statistics that prove, okay, well, what's reality though? You know what I mean? Because your reality may be far from the statistic. And furthermore, we need to start breaking down statistics anyway, getting out of statistics. You know what I mean? I believe things can be better. Do you believe things can be better? Cool. Well, let's go with that. You know, that's what I think.
Right.
You agree?
I do.
Good. Good. So knowing that, baby, knowing that there's so many people on these screens, online, offline, not willing to take accountability. What do you think about that? Knowing that they need to be accurate, they need to tell the truth when they're talking to people. What do you think about that?
What do you mean exactly?
So it's a responsibility that we have. So we're on screen right now.
Right.
Knowing that there's a responsibility to be accurate in how we're displaying our message.
Right.
Not fluffing it up for nobody, just keeping it 100% real, you know, real love in a real way. Like, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel like if you're going to speak to people, even on camera or off camera, you need to be accountable for what you say.
Yeah.
Because if someone who's listening may really need to hear what you say. Right. And if you guide them right or you guide them wrong, or especially if you guide them wrong, and then something happens, you know, now you're kind of responsible.
Yeah.
You know, and it's no different than I feel like music. Okay. You know,
good parallel.
I feel like whatever message that you're portraying, you know, I feel like you need to be accountable just because you're putting it out to the masses.
Right, man. That's a great parallel. You know, we know, especially in music kind of moves you, and so knowing that it can go left or right, depending on what you're saying and how you're saying it and who you're conveying it to. In other words, like let's say if you're making depressing sounding music, right? But there's no solutions in the music.
Right.
Someone who's depressed can hear it and the theme of the music can speak to them. But I feel like the worst thing you can do is just keep somebody in their mess.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You want to do your best to try to elevate them if you have that platform.
Yeah. If you have that platform, if you have the influence. But again, the responsibility of the messaging that you're giving,
right? You
know, and going back to, like you said before, being able to be objective, you know, regardless of your own personal situations, hurt, past traumas, whatever the case may be. If somebody trusts you enough, to even ask you, hey, it's best that you be honest. Right. And listen, if you don't have it in you to give the answer, hey man, I ain't the right person talking right now, Doc.
Right.
Because I am biased. I ain't gonna hold. Listen, I've said it before.
Yeah.
Whether it's music, whether it's all kind of stuff, I'm like, hey man, I ain't the right person to ask about that. Cause, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. I ain't feeling such and such. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I have my own biases towards it. And it may not even be a bad thing that they're talking about, but it's like, I ain't, nah, dog. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So being self-aware enough to say, hey man, there are biases here. Mm-hmm. And if you are a person receiving these messages, understand it could be some biases that is coming to you in. So you have to really be careful that what's coming across to you, whether it's online, offline, that is accurate. And you're dealing with people who are who have enough maturity, right, and have enough what's the right word I want to say? Not honor, but they have enough respect, and for lack of a better term, have enough respect for the opportunity to be like, listen, I'm going to be honest with you and give you the real. Right. You know what I mean? Instead of bending it and twisting it.
And let people know, this relationships take time.
Yeah.
There's no quick fixes or anything like that. It takes time and you got to be willing to put the work.
This episode of the Joyce Team Lovecast is sponsored by VO Marshall's Salon and Beauty Bar in partnership with Tracy Ellis Ross's Pattern Hair Care Products. Embrace the beauty of your curls with the What's Your Pattern campaign. Reserve your spot now by dialing 843-934-2037. Unleash the perfect pattern for your hair.
Yes, you got to be willing to put the work in. So knowing us, getting to know us as you hear us on the Lovecast. One thing we like to do is we like to leave people with solutions. We don't just like to talk about the problems because, granted, it is a problem. A lot of love gurus and a lot of relationship giving is going on right now. But as my wife just alluded to a second ago, there are no quick fixes. However, it can become fulfillment if you become committed to the process. Right. Stay committed to the process. There can be fulfillment in that. Now, again, it's not quick.
Right.
It's not
quick at all.
No.
And also know that everyone is not qualified to answer your question.
Everybody is not qualified to answer your questions. Like honestly, stop asking your cousin what he think.
Unless they're qualified.
Unless they're qualified. Like for instance, you got a cousin who's legitimately a therapist. Right. He's qualified.
And what he'll tell me is, he says, now this is what I believe. And he's very objective. Yeah. He's very objective. Right. And so he can't, give me any medical advice or anything like that. But he can point me in the right direction. Yes. And say, well, think about this here. Right. These are the questions that you should be asking, or these are, asking yourself or whatever the situation may be. Yeah. And so he gives great guidance. Right. And that's what you want. That's what you want to do, which leads to our next point. Sometimes you need a professional. Yes. He's a professional. Right. Like, granted, it's cool to ask what you think, what so-and-so think, if they're going to be honest with you. But sometimes that's not even enough. Like, you really need some real solutions. What I mean by real solutions is, in schooling, in people who are actual professionals, they have been trained, they have been taught on ways to walk you through these thought processes and help you to navigate, is this good information or is this bad information? Right, exactly. Right? I'm not knocking, if you're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all that, giving your eye, listen, that's what we're doing. We're giving you our point of view, you know what I mean? Which some of you may not agree with. Nonetheless, I'm not going to never tell anybody, hey man, it starts and stops with us. Right. No, of course not. Right. But always keep that in front of your mind too. Like, hey, listen, I'm going to eat the meat and spit the bones. Right. You know what I mean? And sometimes, and you don't have to be cutting people off, in other words. Right. It's like, okay, you can take it in. I'm going to eat the meat, spit the bones. You feel me? But lastly, before we get out of here, the last point I want to make, because I know our time is upon us. Ultimately, you're going to need spiritual intervention in your relationships. Definitely. It's cool to listen to people. It's even cool to listen to us. But for us, what we believe at heart, what has helped us in our relationship, kept us grounded, regardless of the situation, is having God at the center of all of these things. Because there's going to be stuff you come into that you ain't got the answer for, she ain't got the answer for, they ain't got the answer for,
And so you're going to really need some central place to go so that way you can at least have peace, right? As you go through the process of growing together and getting solid information to help you grow.
Yes.
Ultimately, again, you're going to need some type of spiritual connection that is going to be able to ground you. Because, again, we live in an information age. There's a lot of information out here. Right. A lot of it be wrong. I'm just going to keep it real with you. Some of it be right. But most of the stuff we see on the internet now, mad wrong, crazy wrong. That's why we're here.
Yes.
Legitimately.
Yes.
We came to be like, listen, man, somebody got to say something. Not saying nobody ain't saying nothing, but nonetheless, we just felt somewhat of a burden on our hearts to be like, listen, if nothing else, we can just be an example of what 21 years together looks like, 19 years married looks like, and still living and thriving.
Yes.
You would agree?
I agree.
So you got any last words for the people before we get out of here? No? She done said all she got to say. And so with that, we're going to leave it on that note. And so you have just now listened to the Joyce Team Lovecast. I'm Chris Joyce.
And I'm Latia Joyce.
Hey, and we'll see you next time.
All right.
Peace.